Welcome to Missing on Monday, where the details of a new missing persons case will be explored each week. Some of the content covered may be sensitive. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, welcome to Missing on Monday. This is Candace.
And this is Ashley, and we are going to jump into our next round of shit you don't really need to know. This week, I'm asking Candace a question. Candace, are you ready?
I am ready. Give it to me, girl.
I'm going to butcher this word, but I'm going to try. Azodicarbonamide. Azodicarbonamide is a chemical that is used to make yoga mats. You can also find it in what popular fast food item? A, McDonald's McRib. B, Wendy's Frosty. C, salad at Subway. D, Pizza Hut pepperoni pizza.
You're killing me, yo.
I'm disturbed.
I don't even want to know. Like, the number one guess, I honestly want to think McDonald's McRibs. Like, instantly where my brain is going, because I feel like McDonald's has a lot of weird shit in their food. You already know how I feel about McDonald's.
I do remember, though, that Subway got super called out because, do you remember that? They were using like food that wasn't food or something, or it was like chicken that wasn't chicken. I can't remember. Subway got in a lot of trouble for doing some shady shit. But anyways,
I think McDonald's did too. I want to say it can't be a salad. I'm just going to go like where my heart went, like very first off. I'm probably going to be wrong, but it just feels right. I'm going to say a McDonald's McRibs.
Once I thought about it, actually, I think that probably would have been my guess too. Because like out of the four of those, McDonald's is definitely the sketchiest.
Blech.
Yuck. So there's your PSA to not get the McDonald's McRib unless you want azodicarbonamide.
Just go take a bite of a yoga mat if you're feeling like some McRibs, apparently.
Or sit on a yoga mat and do some yoga.
That would do much better for your health.
Or eat McDonald's French fries, because there's nothing you could tell me that would stop me from eating them.
Yeah, I still have a thing. The only thing that I ever get from McDonald's, I think you might know this too, because I think one morning I said I was going to McDonald's for breakfast and you were like shocked, like, what the hell are you eating at McDonald's? But I love, it's just like the sausage patty and cheese and English muffin. That's it.
Literally, that makes me want to vomit.
And it's
gross.
I don't like McDonald's. Thinking about McDonald's makes me a bit nauseous, but for some reason, I'm sure it's an ingredient in there that, but
if it was like a life or death situation, or if I had to like, basically what I'm trying to say is McDonald's breakfast is like literally my number one thing that I will never eat. It grosses me out so bad. I'd rather have McDonald's regular food. I'd rather eat a McRib. I don't know why.
We have Ashley's feelings.
Isn't that weird that I feel so strongly?
What about a yogurt parfait? Their yogurt parfaits are good. They're filled with sugar. That's why they're so good.
They're hot breakfast items. I can't.
Okay.
Especially those sausage patties, man. Those sausage patties are disgusting.
You're like, no, ma'am. Fine, I'll do it. Especially if you're hungover. Oh,
I was just about to say, if you're hungover,
I think that's pretty much the only time it happens. And even at that, it is rare that I ever get one. But sometimes,
yeah,
it just hits the spot. So, anywho, we are going to get into today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about Aly Yeoman. She goes by Aly. She's a 20-year-old Thai, African American, and Caucasian female. If you can imagine.
Sounds beautiful.
Yes. She was a college student at Yuba City College. Although she went to school in Yuba City, she actually lived and worked in Gridley, California, which from what I could tell is about 17 miles or 25 minutes, obviously, give or take with traffic. On top of going to school, she also worked 2 jobs. Speaking of McDonald's, one of them was McDonald's.
And Starbucks, which is
And
so
Starbucks.
like, how do you, those
I
are
don't
so
know.
opposite. So
But
opposite.
also, get it, girl.
Right.
She wanted to be a nurse. Ellie was known to be kind of stubborn and very much a daredevil. She loved riding quads on her grandparents' farm where she lived. Her grandparents and father did most of her raising since she was about the age of 4. They really kind of lived on just what you need to get by.
Yes. There's
Not
no
anything.
frills.
There's no frills, no extras. They were living on a farm. And if you wanted anything extra, well,
That's
you
probably
gotta
why
go.
she was working 2 jobs.
Probably.
She was super close to her family, including her Aunt Martine and her uncles and cousins. We had an opportunity to talk to Martine, and she told us that she remembers doing girly stuff with her, like hair and makeup and stuff like that, with Aly and her daughter Melanie. Aly and Melanie were 4 days apart, and they were very close. Martine talked about Aly's motivation for life, but she also mentioned that Aly doesn't always make the best choices. But again, I mean, we're talking about a 20-year-old young girl. Like, who does, really?
Mm-hmm.
If people knew the stuff I was doing when I was 20.
Right.
She liked to party. She liked to drink. She liked to smoke pot. Okay, yep. Check, check, check. Those are all the things I was doing when I was 20. Absolutely. And she had actually told her cousin Melanie that she'd been using pain pills for knee pain. Yeah, it's a dangerous mix. But despite all of that, she seemed like she was turning things around. She was eating super healthy. She actually paid for her own braces. So also hence the 2 jobs, because shit's expensive. She was doing
For real.
CrossFit, which we know is super hard.
It is.
And she was taking college classes. That's a lot. But also, if you're doing all of that and you're doing it successfully, you have to be driven and determined. There is no room for screwing off.
Yeah.
Her aunt told us that Aly was super active on Snapchat and pretty much documented her entire life. She said you would know when she was awake, when she was at work, when she worked out, what she was eating, when she was partying, and even when she went to bed, because basically she put her whole life on Snapchat. That's kind of, yeah, same.
I had a very short stint with Snapchat.
Yeah, my short stint was definitely like in the 2017, 2016 time frame. I don't even remember the last time I used Snapchat.
I actually re-downloaded it the other day because remember
to
that?
Do your video,
Well,
like I told you.
I'm like, I don't know how to do a TikTok.
I had to explain to her that you can go in Snapchat and you can record clips and download them and then put them together.
I didn't do it right, but whatevs. It was funny to like play around with it for like 5 seconds. Anyway,
we're elder millennials. We're allowed to look stupid.
Yeah. So she was last seen on March 30th, 2017. Wednesday. So this episode will air on the 28th, Monday the 28th. So Wednesday will be the 5-year anniversary of this tragedy.
It's wild.
I know. It kind of, when I was talking to her aunt, it kind of felt like it was meant to be though. I don't know. It just really did. me and her aunt really connected. It was a very nice conversation considering what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And she has an accent, and you know me, I'm just,
Oh God, yes.
I'm a sucker for an accent.
I feel like we all are kind of.
I know. So Aly went to Froyo with a girlfriend. She told her friend that she was going to go get dinner with a friend and his uncle. And then she went and got gas at 7-Eleven. Aly then joined a 37-year-old man named Michael Liz. I have said this name 70,000 times while doing this. Lizaraga for dinner at Taste of India in Yuba City. Then after dinner, according to Michael, she asked him if she could join him and hang out back at his place. I just want to go ahead and say here how she actually knows Michael. He is the uncle of a guy that she briefly dated named Alex. I think, honestly, maybe it was more of a hookup type situation rather than a serious thing.
Well, clearly, if she's hanging out with Michael.
And we'll get into this more. According to Michael, and honestly, the videos that her aunt saw of her, it wasn't like a date situation.
Yeah. I just don't think.
It would be weird.
It would be
honestly,
weird.
I think it's weird anyway, but
it is weird anyways. But if she was in like a serious relationship and she was hanging out with his uncle, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like alone. Anyway.
I think there's more behind this whole dinner than we know. Or honestly, that we will know. I don't know.
I agree. So Aly had only met Michael one other time, which is part of the reason why this is so weird.
That's why we're like, what the world?
What the hell? So she was actually on a date with Alex. Michael is a contractor and like a rapper, producer, musical, whatever. He thinks he's real cool.
And in all of the interviews that he did for the news stations, he
like plugs himself
over and over and over and over. It's almost as if he's using it as an outlet to like.
Yeah, he's using her disappearance as a platform. It's disgusting.
It's icky.
So Michael said that they followed each other on Snapchat, which honestly wouldn't be that weird back then because it was. This
is the only part of it that I thought like, okay, I can wrap my head around this.
So they would like chat briefly on occasion. And he said that she had reached out to him and she said she was in the area and she was just like, what are you up to? And he replied, telling her that he was about to go eat at Taste of India. He said she could join him if she wanted. So what he says is that she just wanted to talk and was asking him for advice on a guy she was talking to who is not Alex, which is why this is weird.
Knowing the relationship with her and Alex, I didn't think it was that weird. I don't think that what her and Alex had going on was a recent thing.
It's just strange.
I know.
Because he's 17 years older, which isn't old enough to be a dad. I mean, it is old enough to be a dad, but like not really. But it's also not. Yeah, I know that. But that's not the norm. Right?
Yeah.
Like, how often do you hang out with Jordan's friends?
Never.
Exactly. Okay.
It's just weird. It's weird.
So she's asking Michael for advice on dude. There's been talk about this being a date, but Michael says it wasn't. And her aunt says she doesn't believe that it was a date either, because normally Aly would be like super done up. She would, hair, makeup, whatever. But that day, her aunt saw footage of her when she was getting gas. And she said it looked like she just left the gym or something. Her hair wasn't done, like it was up. She just didn't look put together. So what 20-year-old is going to go out on a date looking like that, except probably me.
Well, and the way that Martine explains her is she's very much always has her false eyelashes on, always has her hair done, always is just put together. Anywho, Aly's friend that she was with earlier texts later and says, "How's it going?" And Aly's response is that it's a bit awkward. I'll tell you about it later. The only thing I can guess is if she told this friend that maybe she thought she was actually meeting up with Alex and Michael, and Alex wasn't there.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. When they got to his house, his son and Alex were there. Yes, Alex, the guy that she sort of
Frenny Benny.
whatever did whatever they did. He said another couple came by that was one of his employees and his girlfriend. Michael said Aly and him talked about her upcoming plans and about this guy she was talking to. They had some wine. He does say he was unaware that she was only 20 because she dated his nephew that was like 22 or 23. And he had seen Snapchats of her drinking and stuff. So he just basically assumed that she was of age. Quite honestly, I think he was probably just trying to cover his ass. But anyway.
I mean, honestly, who cares if a 20-year-old is drinking? Why do we care about that?
I think the bigger deal is that she left his house after she had been drinking.
Right. No, I mean, I understand why
so
he
I
would
think
lie
he's
about
trying
it.
to cover his ass.
It's just annoying that like 18-year-olds can go to war, but they can't have a beer. Total tangent. Moving on.
Moving right along.
Michael says his son and Alex left, and his daughter, who was 16, came to his house to grab some stuff to go to her mom's because they were leaving to go to Six Flags at like 2 a.m. And she asked Michael for a ride. So Michael asked Aly if she wanted to go home or if she wanted to go with, and Aly decided to go with him. As far as anybody knows, there was not any activity from her phone after 9:30 p.m. Michael says Aly left around 11, and according to him, he told her that she could just crash on the couch, but she said no, she would rather go home because she had to work in the morning. She said she'd take the back roads and be fine. I totally hate staying the night at other people's houses. I probably would have done the same thing. I really hate staying at other people's houses.
Yes. I agree. After speaking with Martine and getting some more information, she's actually heard the police interviews and also had conversations with Michael. It was about a year after Aly went missing. Basically just trying to get an understanding and some clarification. According to her, Michael told her that on another occasion, she was at the house and one of the guys, I'm assuming it was Alex, was trying to give Aly some drugs in the bathroom. Her aunt believes it was coke that he was referring to, but I honestly don't know. And apparently Michael got upset about it. Who knows? Then the girls all wanted to get in the hot tub. Michael tells Martine that he offered Aly a bathing suit from his daughter. She wore that bathing suit. There is actually a selfie of him with the girls. It's Aly and two other girls in the hot tub with only Michael from that night. It was about 10 months before she went missing.
It's so creepy.
These girls are all probably between I mean, I think they are all like 19, 20 years old, maybe. They're all very young.
It's weird. It's possible that this hot tub extravaganza was the other encounter that Michael had with Aly, but regardless, we do have that photo and we will show you. Keep in mind when you look at this photo, Aly was supposed to be there with Alex, Michael's nephew. He's not in the photo. Fast forward to the night Aly was with Michael on March 30th. Phone records reveal that his son Michael Jr. called him at like 11:15 or 11:20 at night. And in an interview, when they asked why his son was calling him, Michael said he was calling because his little sister needed to bring ice cream to school the next day. And he was asking if he could get it for her. But if you remember, Michael's son and daughter were supposedly going to be with their mom because they were going to Six Flags at 2 a.m. So that doesn't check out.
Kind of weird.
Very weird. By the morning of Saturday, April 1st, Aly's family had reported her missing. At that point, she had missed 2 days of work, which was very unlike her.
After she was reported missing, law enforcement contacted Sprint to trace her cell phone, which was going straight to voicemail. A ping from April 2nd at 4:33 a.m. placed the phone in an empty field across the street from Walmart. The GPS coordinates are about 200 yards from Michael's home, the last place that she was known to be at. Family and friends immediately searched the surrounding area, including 2 people that were actually at the house the night before and are also Aly's same age. I'm only saying that to give a bigger picture of the age range of people that was at Michael's house. On April 2nd and 3rd, the search took place on April 2nd and 3rd, but they did not locate her phone. On the evening of April 3rd, a farmer called in to report an abandoned truck in his orchard. He had actually seen it on Friday morning, but didn't call it in. Since he had heard of Aly's disappearance and realizing the possible connection, he did then report it. And it did happen to be Aly's truck that was stuck in the orchard.
Also, though, her phone was never in the field. It was in a Sprint store across from the field where everyone was looking for it, like on Sunday. The phone was dropped off to that Sprint store Saturday afternoon by a jogger who found it on the levee by Aly's truck. The truck was hidden from view at the time. When they saw the story on Monday, they called and reported it to the police. Here's the weird part. The phone was wiped when it was picked up by investigators on Monday. Get this. Martine told us that her husband and Aly's dad met up with Michael, and apparently Michael told them that the workers at the Sprint store were friends of his, and when they got the phone like turned on and they saw Michael's name was on it, they wiped the phone. What the hell? Why would you do that? But another fun fact is that Michael's girlfriend actually worked there. So basically, if we had to guess, Michael's girlfriend wiped the phone for him. I mean,
it's all real weird, right? We're not pointing fingers, but it's weird.
It's weird. It's how it looks.
There is also video from a farmhouse that shows Aly's truck at 10:55 p.m. I want to say the importance of the 10:55 p.m. going into the orchard. I don't know. Michael's son called him at like 11:15, 11:20. Anywho,
you can let your imagination run with that.
And that's all mine's been doing. So Aly's truck at 10:55 driving from Cooley Road and turning right into an orchard. About a half mile down is where her truck was found, stuck in the mud on the other side of the levee along the Feather River. There were sets of footprints walking away from the vehicle. It's not reported which direction or the approximate size of the footprints. I'm sure it's probably for investigation reasons, or they could have been footprints from workers on the farm. Remember, the truck was actually there for 2 or 3 days at that point. So I do want to say her aunt said she always carried an extra bag, like of clothes with her. Always had, like, she had a purse. All of her personal things were still in the truck. The only thing that was not in the truck was her cell phone.
Weird. Like maybe she got out of the truck with her phone hastily.
I don't know.
Just what kind of confrontation could have transpired?
Why was she there?
Yeah.
It's not like that this would be on her way home. She was going to the river, but why?
Or was it
The
her
only
driving her
reason
truck?
the only reason that we think that she was going home at that time is all of this is accounts that Michael is saying. This is it's all coming from him. He's the only story. He's the last person that apparently saw her. So it's all being said based off of his accounts of the events. Even if it was an accident and something happened,
Yeah, it's a lot of big question marks there.
lots.
So on April 4th, police, sheriffs, canines, deputies, and helicopters searched the entire area: the orchard, the shoreline, the tree line, and the top of the levee. By the 5th, they were piecing together Aly's movements before her disappearance. I do want to mention that at this time, the dam was let out, so the area was very flooded. Then on April 6th, a search warrant was served at Michael's house, which he completely complied with while they continued an extensive search of the orchard, levee, and even boats in the river.
The only thing that they didn't do, and I don't know if it's because the levee was let out and because I'm assuming if they had, or I'm sorry, the dam, if they had the dam let out, my assumption is that the river would probably be flowing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they couldn't put divers in. Because they didn't do that. But anyhow. Shortly after Aly vanished, a Finding Alicia Facebook page was set up to help find her. It began receiving messages from someone offering information and asking for her parents' phone numbers. Specifically the mom's phone number, which they obviously would not have known the relationships because she didn't have a super close relationship with her mom. Anywho.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about her mom.
Well, her mom's alive, but like I said, so the dad and the grandparents basically had raised Aly since she was about 4 years old. From what I could tell in talking to her aunt, is that the closest thing that I can relate it to would be my mom, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, without saying too much, that would be the closest thing I can relate it to. So the same day that those messages were sent, on April 4th, 2017, Aly's mother's cell phone began receiving text messages, including one that read, "You want to see her again? Pay me or she's dead. She owes me for stealing my dope." Another read, "Go to law enforcement, I'll know." And another, So you want your pretty little princess back, then cooperate. This
That's
is
terrifying.
you want to know what's crazy though is so many people that have people missing in their life deal with these kinds of messages.
Mm-hmm.
At
People
this
try
point,
and capitalize on it.
I know, and it's so sad. At this point, the FBI is involved. They begin tracing communication through Facebook and phone records that led them to Reno, Nevada, where they arrested Rosari Young on prostitution charges following an undercover sting. The FBI also linked Young to a similar extortion effort aimed at the parents of a missing 16-year-old girl in Aurora, Colorado. She was eventually charged with extortion.
It's so sad what drugs can do to people, because that's really sick to manipulate a family.
It's disgusting.
You have no clue where their child is, and extorting them. It's horrible.
And honestly, talking to her aunt at that point, I guess in that area in California, there's a lot of drug activity and a lot of trafficking. So realistically, they were thinking it could have been a human trafficking thing.
Mm.
Yeah, people are just not all right.
Correct. On May 7th, a fisherman found a woman's body on the Feather River, which is not far from where Aly's truck was found. And then on the 9th, that body was confirmed to be Aly's, and the cause of death was determined to be drowning. She was tested for drugs and alcohol, but the problem is because of the amount of time she was in the water and the amount of time that had passed, we've seen this before, anything that was in her system probably wouldn't show up. So they didn't find any drugs in her system, and her blood alcohol content was very low. I think her blood alcohol content was like 0.04. So unfortunately, we won't ever know for sure. But yeah.
Michael Izarraga is well known in the community. Maybe not always in a good way. It is said that he has drug connections. We won't go much further about it. We just don't have facts about it.
Yeah, not here to speculate.
He was friends with one of the police officers on the case. He was also really good friends with the owner of Taste of India. I guess he spent a few, like 3 or 4 nights a week there, from what I gathered.
Weird. I wonder if it was like a money laundering.
Well, if I had to guess, I will say this. Back in the day, my dad spent a lot of days at Mazatlan.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with that.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it was that type of deal.
Right.
Anywho, but you get where I'm going.
Yeah.
In fact, Ali's grandparents went in and were asking the owner if they had seen Aly with Michael and basically if he could provide them with any footage. He said no, he didn't have it, and did end up showing them some footage, but it was not the right footage. The footage that he showed them did not have them in it. But then later on, when the police came along asking for it, the owner did end up turning over the correct footage. And I mean, let's not forget about his connections to the employees at Sprint.
So wait, in the correct footage, were Aly and Michael in it?
Yes.
Okay.
And her family has seen that footage. I will tell you, just from what I know, talking to her aunt, what she told me about the footage, she said they were sitting at a table. You can't hear anything, so she was trying to kind of go off body language.
Yeah.
Aly was like rubbing her leg a lot. She said she wasn't sure if it was like a nervous thing or if her knee was actually bothering her because she
I
did have knee pain.
That's valid. I can relate to
So
that.
I could see it either way. But then another thing that her aunt thought was weird is she actually handed over her phone to Michael.
That's bizarre.
So, and me and her aunt talked about that a little bit. It wasn't, she said, like when you're showing somebody something, you have like your phone tilted to them and you're like
Yeah.
looking, and maybe somebody might like grab it and like to like zoom in on a picture and try to see something.
Right.
She said it didn't really seem like that. Like she just handed it over to him. I, I don't know. 90% of all of their communication was done over Snapchat. I think more than
Which
90% is convenient.
because all of the
And for
texts
Michael,
disappear.
and for Michael, if he is in fact involved in another business beyond his construction business and his music business, Snapchat is a
Yeah.
perfect way to conduct business.
I'm curious now though if Snapchat records can be subpoenaed. Like they live somewhere.
I don't know.
Should look into it.
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it really quick.
Do that. I do want to say here, we're not here to point fingers at anybody. We're just putting out the information that is known from news sources and from conversations with family, and also interviews that Michael has done with local news in his area. Also, I'm going to say, on another note, Michael's son, Michael Jr., was killed in an unfortunate car accident on January 5th, 2020. It was a rollover car accident where he was actually ejected from the car. I just found this information in my research. Rest in peace to Michael Jr. According to Martine, his body was actually ejected and found close to the Feather River.
Weird.
I thought so too. It was not like it wasn't in the same location.
But still, odd coincidence.
Just an interesting note.
By the way, once a Snapchat has been opened by all of the recipients, the content is permanently deleted and unavailable. Like it is not on their servers.
Yeah.
If a snap is unopened by one or more recipients, it will stay on their server for up to 30 days.
Everything's gone.
And then the only time you can see a chat is if somebody saved it. That's bizarre. I cannot believe that there's no freaking way. Nothing goes away on the internet. Nothing.
No, so that there was actually this huge thing. I remember it was a couple of years ago, because that's where all these sex traffickers and pedos, are messaging these little girls, because they know that it just goes away. They can't get traced from it. They can't get tracked from it. And if you're dealing some things, that's a really good way to interact with people also.
Wow. It's unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
I don't use Snapchat. Honestly, it's the shadiest social media. Like, I really don't understand why Gen Z is so obsessed with it. It's really
well, I think
weird.
a lot of it came from parents cannot check the conversations that they were having with their friends. Jordan uses Snapchat still all the time. He's 20. Like, I'm gonna go look at. I don't really care what you're saying.
You're like, you're a grown ass person. That's why Colton can't have apps on his phone.
But like at his age, I absolutely understand.
He gets like random texts from like phone numbers that have the weirdest stuff. And of course, he's 11. So like it's nothing too off the wall, but it's bizarre, weird things. And I'm just like, what?
Have you watched that show? You should watch it. I just watched it the other night. It's a series. I want to say it's on Oxygen or ID, one of those two. It's called, shoot, I want to say Undercover Underage.
Have not seen it.
You should watch it just in a way to bring just wow. How these people, these predators, go after underage kids and how they get them to like manipulate them and get them to send them pictures. And
that's just fucking, people's minds are so disgusting. And it's like, if you were to use that brain power for good,
for
instead
something
of
good,
evil, like imagine.
I'm not saying that we're over here changing the world.
I mean, but at least we're doing something.
But I feel like what
we're trying.
I know. At least we're putting information out there. And I will say, after talking to Martine, you know, it is coming up on the 5-year anniversary. The case has been pretty quiet for a while, unfortunately. So she was very excited that hopefully we can get some more attention brought to the case. I mean, we can look at all the facts here easily of things that we know. Her family does have text message record and those things, you know. But because she was so active on Snapchat and there were so many conversations that happened on Snapchat, I feel like there's probably a lot that will never be known. Realistically, she could have left Michael's house and went and met somebody.
Yeah, but like,
I don't know that. I'm just saying.
That's what sucks about this, is that there's so many possibilities. Like Michael can have absolutely nothing to do with it.
I know.
But it
could have had nothing to do with him. It could have had to do with the nephew or one of the girls that was, who knows?
Or maybe the girlfriend
and
who worked at Sprint.
Or her. Or she left and went and met this. Apparently she was talking to Michael about some guy. Who knows what actually happened?
We will never
know. What bothers me about this case, there is a lot of information. And it's just sitting there. I don't know if it's one of those situations where, and I know that we've done cases like that before, where they're just waiting to get like one more thing, because in order to take it to trial or in order to take it to, they need to make sure it's going to be a slam dunk.
Right. Just getting your ducks in a row.
I don't know. So,
well,
her grandma has Alzheimer's now.
Oh,
which is really sad. And Martine is just, which is her aunt that she was very close with, she just was hoping to have some kind of answers before her grandmother passes. Already she doesn't remember a lot, but yeah. Anyway, that's that. That is the story about Aly Yeoman. So share if you're in the California area. If you know anything about this story, if you have anything that you need to say that you haven't said, I do know that there was a few people that were at that house that night that if something did happen there, they probably know something. And it's been 5 years. And if it's eating at you,
Now is a great time to let it out.
yes. So there is that. Ashley, do you have anything else to add?
No, I I just want to add that it's me and your brother's 1-year wedding anniversary next Sunday. So
I
that's
know.
exciting.
So
Pretty excited for
exciting.
that. Can't believe it's already been a year.
Right? Where'd that year go?
I know.
It's
Buying
been a
houses.
busy year since you guys got married.
Literally, it's been crazy. So much has happened.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. I think that about wraps it up for this week.
All
We'll be
right.
back with a positive ending soon.
We love you guys. Thank you for showing up each week and listening to us. Just so that you know, we are continually every week getting our shit together, and you guys show up every week for it, and we love it, and we appreciate you.
We do.
If you love us, rate us 5 stars. If we're not your favorite, you don't have to listen to us, and you can send us an email with your constructive criticism to missingonmondaypodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Or don't. It's up to you.
Just don't be a keyboard warrior because it hurts my feelings, man.
She gets sensitive.
I am sensitive. Candace doesn't give a shit, but I care.
I'm just like, everybody, we don't have to be everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody's my cup of tea, and that's all right.
You could be the
just move on to
juiciest
the next
peach in the
one.
world, and there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like peaches.
Exactly.
But still, even if you don't like peaches, you don't have to say it. Just don't eat them.
Just don't eat them. Don't let us be your rotten peach, okay? Don't talk about us being a rotten peach.
Exactly.
Also,
we love
have you
you.
ever bit into a mushy rot? Like, have you ever bitten into one? It is disgusting.
No, that sounds awful.
It is awful. So
we gotta wrap it up because I'm gonna go binge watch Bridgerton.
There's a new season, isn't there?
Today.
I thought so. All right, y'all. We love you guys. We will talk to you next week.
We love you so much. Mwah, mwah.
All right. Peace.
Later.
We're out.
Don't go missing.